Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, pimps and simps, welcome back to the Mac Life, the #1 podcast here in the world. We're back for episode 133. Now, if you're new to the channel, we go over absolutely everything to do with growing your brand online, monetizing that brand, Onlyfans marketing for creators, and Onlyfans management, so how to manage ladies' accounts and make a lot of money. Also, if you're new to the channel, the way in which I structure these videos is podcast style format. So I essentially give little live updates on what's going on in my life. We get to connect, we get to talk some business. Me and you build a little relationship, and then we get into the OnlyFans content at the end. Don't have too many updates today, but today's video, the parameter is going to be focused around OnlyFans agency. So how to build, an OnlyFans agency. I'm going to show you the roadmap from zero, from starting to making $100K a year profit. Okay, keyword, profit, making $100,000 a year profit as both a creator, which is easier, and a manager. A little bit harder, but not really that much harder. And when I say profit, I don't mean profit from just the girl. I mean profit for you, what you take home as a manager. Now, before we get into that, okay, we got some updates. I'm a little bit cognitively better than yesterday. If you watch yesterday's podcast, I was a little bit slower today. I've just caffeinated myself a little bit more, nootropics on the move. I'm on some heavy antibiotics at the moment for a staph infection. And it's been bad because I got it in Indonesia like 2 weeks ago. I went to the doctor. I told him it was a staph infection. They were like, no, it's not staph. Anyway, I come back here. I tried to wait it out. I waited like another week. Then I went to the doctor here. So that's already 3 weeks. I went to the doctor and then I was told, that's staph infection. It's pretty serious. So she's given me a heavy course of antibiotics. Today is day 4. It'll be my 4th day. And the infection still is not clearing. In fact, I believe it is spreading. Like, I think it is getting more prominent. It's under my armpits, a little bit on my arm, a little bit on the bottom of my leg as well. So we are in the danger zone. So we don't know how many more podcasts are coming. But like I said, 1 like equals 1 prayer. So make sure you smash the like button and the subscribe button as well. On top of that, because of the staph infection, I've essentially been stuck in the house, which for me isn't that bad. You know, I've been traveling the world the last 6 months. I've done all of pretty much Southeast Asia. Cambodia, Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia. Now that I'm back, I'm putting in some serious work. We're building out the OnlyFans 2.0 program. And on top of that, I'm pretty much, just stuck in the house at the moment. So I'm taking some much needed respite. And I'm just focusing down, putting out more content, which I like doing. And I'm really enjoying doing the reaction videos, the news reaction videos, getting some good comments there as well. So, everything can either be looked at as a curse or it can be looked at as a blessing and an opportunity. It's the way in which your mindset works. On top of that, I want to talk to you about cutting out Instagram recently. I used Instagram for a very long period of time for closing high ticket sales. And it's not that I've cut it out completely because I still go on at 6 p.m. every single night, my time, for about 20 minutes. I try and burn through a few messages and on top of that, post the stories of the day. My account is pretty much about to be verified on Instagram. However, just cutting out checking Instagram, which is the only social that I checked, because of the way in which it's designed, you can't control how addictive these platforms are. And knowing that YouTube is 80% of my brand, everything is deriving from YouTube, my focus is just much better off pushing out videos like this each day and not being plugged into constantly checking my socials. I haven't been taking my phone anywhere with me, and the amount of time that I've gotten back, and more so than time, I've gotten back undivided attention, where I wouldn't just randomly find myself checking my phone. I was already pretty good, but you cannot willpower. These apps are designed in a way. And so I've watched some people sit there overseas and they'll have a list of their apps on their phone and they'll check Facebook, flick out, no notification. They go to Insta, flick out. They go to Twitter, someone there, reply to that. Flick out of Twitter. They go to Snapchat, reply, flick out of that. They go to TikTok, flick out of that. They go to Gmail, flick out of that. And then they go back to Facebook. And it's like, fuck me, how much time are you wasting? And it's very easy to fall into that cycle, okay? And it's very hard to fall out. You're going to be like big shark boy in the background. That is a fucking big shark. It doesn't look that big on the phone camera, but that is a big boy. And those fish, I actually love those fish, weirdly enough. They have such a synergistic relationship with the shark. They get protection from the shark, from other fish, because nothing fucks around with the shark. and they clean the shark and they help keep all the disgusting bacteria off the shark. Pretty fucking cool, eh? So yeah, you don't really realize how much time is wasted. And even for me, I only had Insta. So being able to remove Insta now and focus on this, I've given myself just a massive amount of time. But here's the thing. If you don't have a healthy habit, which is usually lower in dopamine, so it's hard to implement. Fuck, I'm itchy, bro. I'm trying not to scratch, but it's so bad. If you don't have a healthy habit to replace it with, you're just going to find something else to replace that void of time, and it's just going to be equally as unhealthy. So you really need something to replace it with, and the best thing is to replace it with learning. And this may come across as super arrogant or super whatever, but when I would chat with people overseas and I'd chat with randoms, and I'd start talking about something, and then we'd get into a conversation, and then they'd bring up this, and I'd have some basic knowledge on that, and then I'd have some basic knowledge on this, and then some in-depth knowledge here. And this, I don't want to come across as cocky at all. It's not my intention. But they would say, like, fuck, bro, how do you know so much shit? Like, how do you know so much information about just everything? And again, this has nothing to do with me being intellectually smarter than anyone. It's just the fact that I've had so much more time to learn, and you really don't understand how much that stacks up until you look at it. So I thought about this topic before I even wanted to film it today, and I thought about how could I basically summate it for you and package it in a way that you can be like, oh my God, that's astronomical. And I thought about it in terms of units. So obviously the math isn't going to be 100% correct here, but if we look at it in terms of units, if the majority of your day is spent working, okay, and the majority of my day is spent learning, you don't understand how many more units of information I can gain than you. And sure, you can say, oh yeah, but I learn stuff at work. Most of the time, you don't really learn too much. You learn a lot in the beginning, in the cognitive stage, and then for a long period of time, it's pretty much just repeating the same boring ass actions over and over. You don't continue to learn. And even if you do, my counter argument is that, well, I'm only counting the time that I'm spent actively learning outside my business. I'm still learning in my business as well. So we can pretty much they can cancel each other out, because if you're learning at your job, I'm learning at my business. I'm talking about all this excess time that I have here in the middle that you don't have because you're working longer hours than me. Okay, so let's just say, for example, there's 100 units per day. We've already cancelled out, okay, the 40 of work, and we have 60 free units of time, and my 60 units are spent learning. Okay, let's just imagine that 60 units are spent learning where yours isn't spent learning. Now, and if you're like, well, that doesn't make sense because we both have, we all have to do this. You work a lot longer hours than me. Plus, you have transport. You have to get to work. You have sunk cost time of getting up, getting ready, managing your time to have breakfast, do these things. You can't dedicate deep learning periods. I can just boom work whenever I want, whenever I'm optimized. The thing is I don't want you to become discouraged by what I'm saying either, because this gives you a roadmap to very quickly learn a lot of shit and very quickly make a lot more money, because the more you learn, the more you earn. Everyone understands that innately. Now, say I have 60 extra units of learning per day that you don't. And the way I put this is mathematically for you to understand. I've learned 60 bits of new information each day that you haven't been able to learn. Now, it's probably not going to be 60 complete new bits of information, but as a whole, I've learned 60 points worth of information that you haven't got to learn. Now, that's fine. Like, that levels me up in one thing. And you don't really understand how much you can learn in a day until you have a full day to sit down and learn. Like, if I dedicate a day to learning about botany, I can learn a shit ton in one day. Like, even, say for example, I remember learning anatomy. I dedicated, like, at uni, a mass amount of time. But even in the first couple days of learning anatomy, we had to learn so much information. I remember in the first week, they were like, these are all the bones of the body. There is this many bones in the body. You have to know the name of every single bone, including the wrist bones, including, like, not the processes on the bones, but you have to understand every single bone. So we're talking all the tarsals, we're talking the carpals, the metacarpals, we're talking like distal proximal phalanges, we're talking every bone in the body. And I was like, fuck me, that is a lot of shit for us to learn. And they were like, if you don't know that, by the time you come back for next week's class, you're going to be fucked, because next week we're going over all the ligaments in the body. And to understand that, you need to understand where they're attached to the bones. Okay, and then we're going over all the processes, and then we're going over all the joints. And if you don't understand, the bones completely by week 1, you're going to be fucked understanding the joints, because patellofemoral joint, if you don't understand what the patella is and what the femur is, okay, you're not going to be able to understand where the patellofemoral joint is. So it's like, okay, fuck, there is a lot to learn. But what I'm trying to basically say is, even in one day, you can learn so many units. And what I understood by learning anatomy is you can learn a fuck ton of information about one thing, but that is only the body. Imagine if I was to focus on botany or cybersecurity or photography or videography or, energy or anything, mechanics, engineering. And I'm not saying that you should go so broad that you don't dedicate time to becoming a specialist in one area. But by having this many more units of time, you can dictate where you want to put that time, and you can really learn a lot more than someone. So when I was chatting with people overseas and they were like, fuck, so much information about shit. It's like, yeah, but it's only because I get 60 units of learning time each day that you don't have. And more importantly, we're going to get into it in a sec, is not utilizing the units that you do have, which will be the way that gets you out of working a job, I guarantee you. Now, just to really bring the point home, me and you, I get 60 extra learning points a day and you get 0. Let's just put it at that for now. Okay, great, I'm 60 points ahead of you today. 1 week from now, I'm 420 units ahead of you. 420 points. And if you don't understand how much you can learn in a week, hopefully the anatomy reference gave you a lot of shit, because if you showed up the next week when we started learning about articulations and joints and you didn't know every bone in the body, you are at a serious disadvantage, and you realize very quickly, fuck me, these people know a lot of shit that I don't. When people are talking about, the distal tibiofibular syndesmosis joint at the bottom of the leg, and you're like, oh my God, what is that? And you're only 2 weeks down, okay? You're only 840 points down. You're like, fuck. So let's go again. 365 days. If I get to do that for 1 year, that you do not get to do that, that is 21,840 units more information that I now have as an advantage over you. Now imagine, because actually I don't want to say this yet because this is going to be really, really important. Now imagine, okay, and I'm choosing 5 years very specifically because I think that's the amount of time that I've dedicated to online businesses, around 5 years. Whilst I've gotten to dedicate all these days to learning about online businesses outside of actually working in them, extra time that I've put in, learning photography to do with business, learning cybersecurity, learning all these different things, these micro intricacies, not even counting the time that I've spent working, I've got 109,200 units on you. 109,000 units of excess information. And we're not talking about what you retain and what's important and stuff like that, but overall I have 109,000 bits of information over you. Now you join an online business and you're still working your job and you're trying to compete against someone like me. Do you know how hard that is for you to succeed when someone else has that many more units of information over you? Okay? It's very, very hard to succeed when you're competing against that sort of person. But at the same time, I want to show you something very cool. If you were to utilize the free time that you have each day on social media, this all links back to the Instagram, instead when other people come home, or even while you're at work, if you're working a shitty box packing job or whatever, you've got a podcast in and it's focused, and you can, boom, put in your podcast and you can spend that time learning instead. You've beaten 95% of the population, because 95% of the population is still working that 9-to-5 job, and you've moved yourself into that 5% of people. You're not in the top 1% that has all day to focus on learning, but you're in that 5% of people that's dedicating all their free time to learning. Here's the problem. So many people, they come back and they have 100x distractions on. And I've seen it, like I said, with my family recently. I've come back, I've been traveling, I've been chatting to them, and they're like, fuck me, like I can't believe you make this much money. You're traveling the world, you're doing all this, you're doing all that, because I'm spending so much time with my aunties and uncles. And I'm saying, like, you're wasting the units of time that you have available. I love this little old bumpkin town. There's a kid just going fishing. He's got his fishing rod on a Saturday. He's headed down. Now, you don't understand the amount of units of time that you're wasting. I'm watching them sit there, not only watch TV, which they're not really even watching, but scrolling endlessly on their phone. So it's like they've just got double split attention of something that they're really not even interested in, just to entertain them, just to flood dopamine. And it's like, look at all the free units you have. And I say, well, why don't you think it? And they say, yeah, well, that takes effort, that takes energy, that takes attention. Yes, it is. And trust me, it is a lot harder to do when you have a job. But what's the alternative? You don't. It just never works out for you. So this is why I want you to understand that if you want to become almost superhuman, and to me, the people that I look up to and I'm like, fuck, they're superhuman, like Tom Bilyeu, Tim Ferriss. There is a lot of neuroscientist women that I've been watching recently that focus on cognitive development, post-brain injury and stuff like this. People that I look up to and I think, fuck, like that is a hyper-intelligent individual. Those motherfuckers, they utilize their time correctly. And you need to stop wasting so much time. And the easiest one to cut out of the lot, okay, because it's gonna make you really realize how much time you waste, and you can check this, by the way, is to cut out social media. If you've got an iPhone, Android probably has a similar feature, go across and look at screen time. It will show you your screen time on certain apps. That is wasted time. And how do I know that is wasted time? Because even from a business standpoint, okay, you'd be better off if you're not making too much money, focusing on the long-term platforms like YouTube. Instagram, all these things, they can be great, but setting up ads on these platforms and that's very quick. That can be done very quick. And you say, yeah, but I need to stay in the know. I need to do this. Bullshit. Because I know people who make tens of millions a year who do not spend any time on socials, but yet operate in the social media world, okay? And they don't have socials themselves. So it's almost a base rate fallacy. And for me, it's been one of the hardest ones to break, is because like I'll run Instagram DM ads and I'll run all these things. And inherently I know they're not scalable without, like I can hire teams to do them and certain things, but they're just, the focus would be far better off on something like this, okay? That is, even though for you watching this video right now, you're like, this is social, we're plugged in. Me, I'm just sitting here right now in a chair, in an office, recording a video, putting out work, and I can do this 100x and target 100x people rather than sitting there wasting time, because these apps are designed to waste your fucking time. No matter how strong your will is, you go on, your eye catches something, you click someone else's story, oh fuck, what's that babe from fucking school still doing, boom, oh fuck, click her, oh fuck, okay, this. You want it is impossible to willpower it all the time. So you want to just remove them all together. Now, I'll give you a very practical tip to finish that off, because then we're getting into the OnlyFans shit. I didn't really have anything else. You want to, for a computer, use a Chrome extension. I have no affiliation, but it's been fantastic for me, called Feed Eradicator. And it will show you, it will eliminate and inherently show you how much time you waste on social media by removing all news feeds. You can remove Twitter feed, Instagram feed, YouTube feed. When you search for things, okay, they will pop up. Like say I'm on YouTube and I want to search for a video. But when I just click home, it will show nothing. When I scroll down, it will show no suggested videos on certain things. And you can play around with the settings. But when I go to Facebook, it will show no news feed. And this will give you just such a magnitude of power back. And now by me taking it one step further and reframing the times that I'm allowed on certain social platforms, the growth is going to be 100x. And I can tell you, like, even the hive mind is exploding right now. The amount of people that are joining the hive mind, the amount of money it's generating is massive. And this is just the beginning of the hive mind. And the hive mind is just one of my businesses. So I want to see your win. That's why I put out these potties every single fucking day. 133 podcasts in. Who else has put out 133 podcasts? As J. Cole said, who gave the world more fire but got less reward? No stress. My only guess is that less is more. Deep. Let's get into the OnlyFans stuff. Now, before we get into the actual OnlyFans roadmap, subscribe. Join the Hive, which is the program down below. It's all the OnlyFans training. It's all the management. We have over 500 members now. We have creators earning 6 and 7 figures a year. We have managers earning 6 and 7 figures a year. You get instant access to the whole community. Think how much time can you save if you encounter a problem and rather than looking through a course and looking online and searching through YouTube videos, you just are in a Discord server and you say, hey, has anyone else come across this? And 30 people go, yeah, this is how you fix it. Think how much time is that going to save you? And then think if you're going, oh, I wonder if this works, and you're having doubts in business because a lot of the time it's just mental things and it's mental blockages that we put on ourselves, and you say, I don't really think I can make 10K a month. It doesn't seem tangible. And then you comment inside the hive and you go, who else is making 10K a month? And everyone just goes, me, I got this girl doing this, I got this girl doing this. And you go, fuck. And you go, well, how did you do it? And they say, well, I ran TikTok ads. This is the ad I ran. Okay, I had this many girls apply. I replied to these girls like this. I signed one up and now I'm making 10K a month. And you're like, can't I do the same? Yes, you fucking can. That's the power of the hive mind. It's untouchable at this point. It's the most advanced learning platform there is. Now, I want to talk about this topic. It's to do with OnlyFans, but it's separate from the agency. And I want you to understand that if you're panicking with fear of missing out, you should really panic. But at the same time, you should understand we're in the very, very early stages of OnlyFans. And this is where the most money can be made. And OnlyFans is going to continue to grow expansively and massively. If you think that's going to change in the next couple of years, you're insane. It's going to expand massively. And what I feel will replace OnlyFans as a platform is when we essentially have a new media platform that takes the world by storm, because nothing at the moment can push out as much dopamine as something like OnlyFans can. It's a social platform. It's basically designed like Facebook, but it's sexual content. It's super well known. It's super easy to use. It's super easy to sign up. We're in the very early stages of this. The very, very, very early stages of this. And until a new piece of technology comes out that replaces our current means of media, which I still feel we're a little bit off, now is the time to get into this 100%, because you want to be an expert in this field that when a new piece of media comes out, you have enough skills, you have enough connections, you have enough money that you can be the first to adapt to a new platform. And I feel we're still too early to start wasting our time and attention to push across to new platforms. But what I feel the next change or the next revolutionary thing that we will come across will be MR, mixed reality. If you don't understand AR, augmented reality, and you think like, oh, we put on a headset and we're in a virtual world, it's not going to be like that. Mostly it's going to be MR. It'll be a Google Glass, or it'll be something that we put on Amazon developed product. Watch in a few years what I've said. It might be contact lenses, it might be something. And it will mix our current reality with a virtual reality. You'll be able to put these on and watch videos as you move. You'll be able to put these on and hear auditory things. You'll be able to stand in a room, put it on and recreate certain aspects. You'll be able to put it on and have a phone call where you see each other as just virtual augmented sims where you can talk, okay, and then you can take the glasses off. Like say, for example, I wanted to chat with like my mum and I was overseas. Boom, I put the glass on, she puts hers on. Now we're standing in front of each other. We can chat, we can have more expansive like body movements and stuff. And we're still quite a while away off that yet, because the current early developments are pretty poor. Like you look at the FaceTime talking, but they're developing. And I feel that's the next thing. And once any industry becomes more expansive, sex is one of the first things to come across. We have the innovation or the tech people that go first, and then sex is pretty much always going to follow. You know what I mean? Like it's the oldest industry in the game for a reason. Once you can grab some virtual titties and fuck a virtual bitch, it's just a whole new level of experience. And if you're already managing OnlyFans girls, you're turning over this amount of money, you understand how the industry works. The only thing that you're at a disadvantage is the tech. So if you can get all these other things down in place first, once the tech comes out, you're only going to learn one little facet. So we're in the very, very early stages for OnlyFans. That being said, okay, now we're going to go over the roadmap of an agency, how to get from 0 to 100K. Why can I talk about this? Why do I have credibility? Not only have I done this, okay, but we have people inside the hive mind, multiple people who have come in, taken the training I've shown, and in all different ways, gone from 0 to 100K very fast. Now, to get to 100K, in anything, I've talked about this in numerous videos. You need to understand unit economics. You need to break down a tangible goal, okay, so that you can work towards it. Instead of just saying, oh, 100K, and you don't really understand what 100K is, break it down into its unit economics. 100K is simply around $300 a day. I believe mathematically it's 283 point something. But it's around $300 a day. If you're taking home $300 a day profit, you're going to make 100K. Now, I've talked about pricing in so many videos. Today, I'm really not going to reaffirm why you need to do this, but you always need to charge the maximum price. Always charge a premium. I'm not going to explain. You need to charge $100 per piece of content. This makes it very easy for you to succeed. You only need to sell 3 pieces of content a day, okay? Now, this is to make 100K, but remember, ladies, if you're a creator, this is how you make 100K. If you're a manager managing a girl and you're taking a, let's say a 50-50 split down the middle, you're both only making 50K a year because you're only taking home 150 each profit. So we simply need to double the unit economics. We need to take home either $600 a day for managers, okay? We need to take home $600 a day on one girl's account, which gives us $300 each, or we need more ladies. Very simple. If we add in a second lady, we only need $300 a day from each account. If we add in a third lady, we only need $200 a day from each account. See, I'm on point today. Ain't nothing stopping this. Even basic math ain't stopping me today. So essentially, for us to get there, mathematically, we have a pretty clear way to get there. We just have to sign up a girl and get her doing 3 sales a day, okay? Or we sign up a girl and we get her doing 6 sales a day, I should say, which gives us $300 each. Or we sign up 2 girls, we get them doing 3 sales a day each. Or we sign up 3 girls and we get them doing 2 sales a day each. Very, very simple. Is that another shark? Oh, that's the hammerhead. See, I'm going to get weirder. The richer I get, I've decided I'm going to become more petty. Just spat. I'm going to get more petty and I'm going to get weirder. One day I'm going to have a shark. I'm going to own a shark. Like, he's going to be free in the ocean. I respect freedom. But he's going to have, like, the Mac life tattooed on him. It'll happen too. So, essentially, what I want to break down, though, is a concept to you all that's very, very important. Now, this is more for agency owners. Would your time be better off spent building a girl's account and marketing, or would it be better off spent looking for new talent and hiring girls? I want you to answer that. Say it out loud, or what was the thought process in your head? Is it better off focusing on a girl and building up her account, or is it better off looking and hiring new girls? Ha ha ha! Gotcha! You didn't think outside the box. It's both. Your time should be equally spent doing both. You should have a system in place that is constantly looking for new girls and also be building up the girls' accounts that you currently have. Now, why this is important for an agency owner is that you need to provide value to the girls you're working with and you want to build a relationship long term, but you should always be looking for new talent, because imagine you're working with a girl and you're slowly building up her account, $50 a day, and now you're on 100, now you're on 150, and you're building up over time, right? Great, there's value. But imagine you're missing the opportunity of running some ads on TikTok, which you can do very, very easily, and there's a girl who's already turning over 100K a year who could have come across your ad, wants management, is intrigued by your ad and your value proposition, clicks through, books a phone call, and you sign her up. If you miss that opportunity, you have, by just signing her up on a 12-month contract, if she's already doing 100K, you have just secured yourself $50,000 instantly. This is how easy this business is. You don't understand. It's not like, you're selling shoes and you're selling this shit where you've got to build it up and make sales. You're finding where the money already is, insane amounts of money, and just saying, I'll take 50K. Now, how can I provide value? I'll take 70K. How can I provide value? So you need a system in place. And this is why it's very powerful for managers as well. Because if you understand that you have a system like Kajabi in place where you can collect data and automate certain processes and flows, it also provides you a safety net. There's definitely a better word than that. Diversification or safety. Diversificational safety. Because if you work with a girl for 12 months and she decides, hey, this was great, but for whatever reason, I don't want to continue. We both made our money. We both whatever. It's a mutual agreement. Fantastic. Boom. Close the deal. If you've put in all that work, time, and effort, sure, you've made money, but you've just lost all of that momentum building up unless you've been smart enough to build a system, okay, where you as an agency owner own the data, meaning that you own access to all of the previous customers that she acquired or you acquired while working together. You can remarket to them. You have all their email addresses, all their WhatsApp numbers, because if you sign up a new girl, you can then mass market or move that audience to another girl. And how this works beneficially for all creators as well is if you have 3 girls on, as an agency owner, you have access to 3 giant pools of data. You have access to all of that data, okay? And then you sign up a new girl, a 4th girl, rather than starting from scratch, or even if she's already got a bit of a base, you can pump traffic from the 3 other girls to your new girl as well. Now you can see how much money can be made as a whole, and it is massive. There is more money in this game if you become an expert than you will ever need in your life. You can make enough money from this there's no other opportunity like this. And it's easy. It's fun. You get to become an expert in something cool. You get to become an expert in tech. You get to become an expert in people. You get to become an expert in a fun industry and make exuberant amounts of money. I wonder if exuberant really fits there, but it's a cool word. Большой деньги. You get to make big money. Big деньги. Деньги is the word for money in Russian, essentially. Big dengue you get to make. They call you big dengue. You'd have that big dengue fever, the money fever. Now, to have a system like this, okay, it's what I'm teaching in Onlyfans 2.0 when I release it. And this may sound like a plug, whether you think it's a plug or not, I don't care. And it's why it's the next stage of Onlyfans. Essentially, in Onlyfans 2.0, when I release it, the amount of value that is going to be in it, and this is a principle that Alex Hormozi's talked about for such a long time. He said, do not rush release shit, build it. Once you already have money, don't rush release it, because I take Mark Zuckerberg's advice as well of move fast and break things, and then once you move fast, you can correct and grow. But Alex Hormozi says, once you have money and you're not in a stress situation, the longer the runway, okay, the bigger the plane you have that can take off. And for me, big isn't in just terms of money, which I love money, but big is in terms of how much more value can I provide? And inside of OnlyFans 2.0, when it comes out, not only is it like, I'm teaching you how to develop this system where you can download data. It's the highest converting ways to upsell things. It's the highest converting email flows for this to automate and to take away 90% of the workload. It's essentially plug and play. I'm making it to the point where it's so easy. Not only do you have to learn very little, you're just going to upload the theme liquid and change your agency name and pictures. And now you have the entire system there set, ready to go. Plus the most effective marketing training. You can't not succeed with what I'm building for you all. And it's only going to be available for Hive members. It will have an external price, but it is only available for Hive members. And the price of the Hive membership is continuing to go up. Now, that being said, there was something very, very important that I wanted to add on top of that. It's something for you to understand to do with the systems, because I've learned a lot this year in terms of making businesses more sellable, more exitable, and more valuable, I guess, in terms of to external parties. And I've learned a lot this year just from watching Alex Hormozi's content, mostly, and reading. And what I've discovered is that, for any business to be great past a certain level, you could fluctuate in any business. You could have a shit business and make 100K a year. You could have a lawn mowing business. If you work hard at it, you can deal with the volatility, the stress, the ups, the downs. Anyone can just flux their way to 100K a year. It's not easy to fluctuate to $1 million. There has to be some system. OnlyFans is kind of the only industry that will let you fluctuate to 1 million while still being very inexperienced in business. And whilst I had some business successes, I still look at myself as highly inexperienced in business. I haven't had the big bankruptcies, and I understand that business is a long-term game. I will still experience a lot of ups and downs, ebbs and flows. However, I think the next evolution in making a shitload more money is to implement systems. And what I feel is the new era of business, and I really want you to think about this too. It's when moving away from hiring mass amounts of people, people are realizing like 90% of people's jobs are just bullshit jobs. Honestly, there are departments people work in at jobs where those departments shouldn't even exist. But the companies have become so big that they require these jobs that are essentially meaningless. People sit in these jobs, and I heard this on Joe Rogan. He was saying like, people go there and not only are they know their job deep down is meaningless, but they have to pretend like they're working hard at it, and they have to pretend like they cared so that their boss doesn't fire them, and they're essentially living their entire life, which it is because they're sleeping and then they're working 8 hours a day. They're essentially lying the majority of their life, pretending to be someone they're not, pretending to enjoy something that they know is pointless. And we're moving away from that era in business now because of technology, which I think is incredible, to building systems that work for us. And in the past, for these global monolithic giants to succeed in business, they needed lots of people. They needed thousands of people, tens of thousands of people, millions of people. You look at these giant corporations that have millions of people working for them. They needed the collective majority of people there to make serious amounts of money and do different things. Because of the technology we have available now, we're moving away from that to systems. And it's really who can develop the smarter system, because you could have 1 million people clocking in 8 hours a day work, shoveling. But if I can develop a system, that can clock in 16 million units of work compared to your 8 million units of work, I'm going to win. It's just the systems are the fucking way. And today, like the podcast's taken a bit of a turn. I am so excited about the OnlyFans 2.0 that I'm going to release because, like Alex said, the price that people pay you, what they should get in value should be 10x substantial at least. Like people should pay for it and be like, I got some value. That will always keep people coming back. And for me to just give the value that I'm going to give in OnlyFans 2.0, which still isn't going to be out for quite a while, it's going to change the OnlyFans industry 100%. Those of you that adopt these systems early are going to succeed both massively short term and secure yourself forever long term, plus have a sellable business. So that's all for today. I've still got some other videos to film. I've got a new Hive Mind intro video to film for the landing page, and then on top of that, I need to film some new shorts. I've already filmed the reaction video today, which was reaction to some girls on Fresh and Fit. And then I'm just going to keep banging out these while I'm doing nothing. I'm sitting here, I'm all rashed up. I'm going to just keep fucking cashing up and putting out videos. So, hope you enjoyed. Hit subscribe if you want to make serious money. Join the Hive. That's not financial nor legal advice. But join the Hive, link down below. And I'll see you all for tomorrow's podcast at 134. Paka.